All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely legendary, Bruce Lee's path to mental mastery. You know, when we think of Bruce Lee, our minds almost instantly go to those lightning-fast strikes, right? The insane physical prowess, those iconic Hollywood moments. But here's the thing. True greatness actually requires conquering yourself before you can conquer the world. Look at this quote. "Power can win a fight, but only the mind can win a lifetime." That is such a huge perspective shift. It literally flips the script on what it means to be a warrior. We're so used to equating victory with just physical dominance. But a physical fight? That's temporary. A lifetime requires a completely different kind of endurance. Most people never figure this out, but for Bruce, this was the absolute starting line for his path to greatness. So let's get into Section 1, the inner battle, defeating the true enemy. Okay, so the absolute first step in any legendary journey is actually identifying who you're fighting. Before you even throw a single punch or start tackling your own goals, you've got to know your enemy. Because if you're fighting the wrong opponent, well, you've already lost. It is so incredibly easy to just focus on the external stuff, competitors, critics, the random obstacles life throws at us. But Bruce Lee completely understood that his greatest adversary was absolutely never the guy standing across from him. It was the internal opponent. Think about it. Picture him in a silent temple before dawn. He wasn't visualizing other fighters. He was actually confronting his own internal resistance. And to even begin his path to greatness, he had to actively silence these internal obstacles every single day. We're talking about fear, doubt, hesitation, and honestly, the absolute worst one, that little voice in your head that just says, you can't. Now, these aren't just abstract philosophical concepts, right? These are daily intruders that live in all of our minds. Bruce Lee's greatness didn't magically come from just not having fear or doubt. No way. It came from the conscious, relentless choice to shut that inner voice down before it could dictate his actions. He essentially treated that voice like a daily sparring partner that just had to be put down every single morning. Moving right along to Section 2, training the mind, forging the unstoppable warrior. Now, recognizing that you have an inner enemy is a fantastic first step, sure. But how do you actually train to win that fight? Well, Bruce Lee religiously followed this four-step cycle: reading, reflecting, practicing, and improving. It was never just shadowboxing and hitting the wooden dummy for him. It was deep philosophy books and journaling. He treated his intellect and his spirit with the exact same hardcore rigor as his physical muscles, because he understood a really vital biological fact. A muscle can only contract as fast as your nervous system tells it to. And what governs the nervous system? Your mind. So, the massive takeaway here is that a disciplined mind creates an unstoppable warrior. I mean, you could have all the talent, all the blazing speed, and all the brute strength in the entire world, but if your mind is chaotic, your actions are going to be chaotic. A disciplined mind acts like the ultimate anchor. It takes all that raw, scattered power and focuses it into a literal laser beam of intention. And honestly, that is exactly what separates a mere brawler from a truly unstoppable warrior on the path to greatness. All right, on to Section 3, calm in the chaos, the silence before the storm. It's actually pretty easy to be disciplined when everything's going your way, right? But the true test, the real test of this mental training is how you react when the pressure is fully on. True mastery is staying perfectly calm when the world around you is literally falling apart. What's so wild about this is that Bruce Lee's strongest weapon wasn't a physical strike at all. It was his profound peace of mind. Just imagine him standing totally motionless in heavy, freezing rain, completely unfazed right before exploding into fluid action. That kind of calm is what allows you to see things clearly. Because, let's face it, panic creates mistakes. Peace of mind creates perfect execution. By completely conquering his inner world, he became practically impervious to the chaos of the outside world. Which brings us to Section 4, the master within, facing the final opponent. So think about this. If you've defeated your doubt, you've trained your mind, and you've learned to stay incredibly calm in the chaos, who's left to fight? Where does the journey actually end? Well, Bruce realized that the ultimate battle is never against another fighter. The absolute final opponent is yesterday's version of yourself. When you finally stop measuring yourself against other people, you completely remove ego from the equation. The only pure metric for true greatness is personal growth. Were you better today than you were 24 hours ago? That is the final opponent. And honestly, it's an opponent you have to fight for the rest of your life, which just means the journey of self-mastery truly never ends. Because of this mindset, each new day became a totally fresh opportunity for him to elevate his discipline. Every single sunrise brings three distinct opportunities: to become stronger, to become wiser, and to become more disciplined. Think of a martial artist meditating on a mountaintop overlooking these endless valleys at dawn. That sunrise, it isn't just a cool cinematic backdrop. It represents a hard reset button. It's this beautiful chance to shed yesterday's flaws and just build something better today. It's a hugely proactive and, frankly, highly optimistic way to approach your life. So, his true path to greatness wasn't about achieving global fame or movie stardom. It was about mastering the one thing no one else could control: his own mind. Look, the world can take away your wealth, it can take away your fame, and yeah, eventually time is going to take away your physical strength too. But absolutely no one can control your mind unless you let them. Bruce Lee understood that true sovereignty, true invincibility, lies entirely between your ears. And this right here is exactly why his legacy endures today. It's a very clear, simple progression. Master your mind. That internal control naturally ripples outward, which allows you to master your life. And the inevitable result of all that? You become legendary. Bruce Lee isn't just remembered for how he moved, he is remembered for how he thought. Mastering your internal world is literally the only true way to walk that path to greatness. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty provocative thought to carry into your own daily routine. Who is your final opponent, and will you conquer yourself? I really encourage you to think about that little voice of doubt or hesitation in your own life today. Try using those structured steps we talked about: reading, reflecting, practicing, and improving to start taking back control of your own internal world. This path to greatness, it isn't just reserved for Hollywood martial artists. It is available to anyone who is willing to put in the mental work. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope this sparks a whole new level of focus in your own journey.